name's Michelle, and I want to welcome you to the Olive Oil Source. Today we'll be making our own homemade pizza dough. We're going to top it with grilled peaches, prosciutto, goat cheese, and then finishing it with an aged balsamic. Now many people buy their pizza dough at the store, or they go out for a great flatbread. But it's so easy to make at home, and the key is olive oil. I'm going to prepare my yeast first. I have a small cup here with a little bit of honey, since you need something to activate the yeast. And of course, yeast loves sugar. So I have honey, and I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of warm water to that. And then I'm going to add my packet of dry yeast. Swirl that together so it'll get started. And I'll just leave that for a few moments. So in the meantime, I'm gonna prepare my dry ingredients. I have 2 cups of pre-measured flour, and this is bread flour. I found it's a little bit more elastic than regular flour, a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm going to add an 1/8 of a cup of olive oil, and I'm just using the Chef's Blend, which is a blend of different varietals. It's a rather mild olive oil. All right, so next I'm going to add my sea salt, just to taste. I'm just gonna add about a teaspoon of sea salt. And then I'll add 3/4 cups of water. And by now, I think my yeast should be ready. All right, and that's it, super simple. Now I'm just going to blend these ingredients together. And I have a bread hook in place. And you're going to do it on the lowest setting possible. And just let it do its thing until it forms a ball. It might need a little bit more water or a touch more flour, but you'll be able to tell depending on the consistency of the dough. So I'm just gonna take this off. And again, if you might need a little bit more flour or a little bit more water. It just depends on the consistency of the dough and how it came together. But this looks really nice. I'm just going to knead it for a few more minutes just to activate the gluten so it's a little more elastic. So now that we've worked our dough, we'll just go ahead and let it rest. And I'm just going to cover it with a warm towel. So I have a whole head of garlic, and I'm just going to chop off the top of the head, and I'm going to wrap it in aluminum foil, pour a little bit of olive oil on top, and then just a little bit of sea salt. And I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and I'm going to pop that in there for 35 minutes. And I just want that garlic to get really soft so that I can squeeze out each of the cloves, and it almost creates a bit of a paste. So while the garlic is roasting, I'm going to prep my peaches. And these are not super ripe, they're still very firm. And the reason for that is once you cook your peaches, it's going to get sweeter. So I don't want them to be too sweet. I still want some of that acidity. Cut them in half. All right. I'm just going to grill these peaches face down just to get a little bit of a char on them. And then I'm going to chop them and lay them over my flatbread. All right, so now that our garlic has cooled, I'm going to squeeze them out of the cloves. So this is an easy, just mash and scrape. Add that right in. And then I'm just going to add a 1/2 cup of olive oil, and I'm using the organic mission oil from Olive Oil Source. And then I'm just going to whisk that together. All right, now it's time to roll out our pizza dough. So you can use flour to roll it out, but I prefer olive oil. I think olive oil is your best friend for rolling out pizza dough, and just makes it really easy to work with. So I'd already preheated my oven to 500 degrees, but the pizza stone was in there to begin with, and it was cold. So it gradually heated up along with the oven. If you put a cold pizza stone in the oven when it's hot, it would crack. So I'm going to put my flatbread dough directly on top, and it's going to bubble up. So now I'm going to add my garlic mixture that I made earlier. And I'm going to start with my large chunks of garlic, and I'm just going to spread that throughout. As you can see, olive oil is a necessity for this recipe. Next, I'm going to add my peaches. A little bit of goat cheese. Just sprinkle that throughout. I'm going to add my prosciutto. And finally, I'm going to drizzle it with balsamic. And I'm using an aged balsamic. This is the Cask 10 vinegar. And it already has that kind of caramelization. And with the peaches and the goat cheese is gonna add that little bit of sweetness, but also that richness to it. So I just took my pizza out of the oven, and you can see how the olive oil just made this nice crispy crust, but it's still nice and doughy and light in the middle. And don't forget, you can find this and many other recipes by visiting oliveoilsource.com. Thanks for watching.